today we're going to get into another chapter of reality transurfing. This is going to be chapter 2, and this might be the most important chapter of the whole book. And if you just take this one lesson, I think you're going to have a whole lot of stuff to run with, a whole lot of stuff to go about changing your life. And, if you simply just apply what we're about to talk about, I think you have everything you need to live the best life you possibly can. So, this chapter is about pendulums, and think of what a pendulum is. A pendulum is the energy goes up, the energy goes down, but you're trapped in this cycle. You're trapped in this same perpetual motion, and all of the energy that you have is going to fuel this, and all the energy that this thing has is going to fuel this. And it's this back and forth. It's the Hegelian dialectic. It's the right versus left. It's the yin versus yang. It's the endless cycle of monotony that you see with political discourse, with debates between different worldviews, and all these things that don't really matter, the endless news cycles, the endless cycles of things that don't really elevate you, that don't really progress you, that keep you stuck in the same spot. And we talked last chapter about how if you want to go about changing your life, you have to go about changing your ideas of things. Well, you can't change your ideas of things if you're stuck in a pendulum. You can't change your ideas of things if all of your energy and all of your focus is feeding into these systems, is feeding into these systems of power and making you subservient to them through your attention, through your energy being put towards them. So again, we're going to go through the chapter summary. At some point, I might cover these chapters in more detail. Maybe that's something that I do, in a different format, because I feel like it's just going to be hours and hours and hours. Maybe that's a live stream or something else devoted to it, but we're just going to go through the chapter summary today. I think it has more than enough to make interesting points to make a good video. So, a pendulum is created by energy of a group of people thinking in the same way. So think of any sort of group, any sort of ideology, any sort of system. It could be something that's neatly organized, or it could be something that's just in mass, like a collective idea, such as the American dream or manifest destiny or things of that ilk. Pendulum is energy-based informational structure. Pendulum maintains thought energy of adherent at its own vibrational frequency. So think, if you're part of a group, you're going to think like that group. Your opinions are no longer your own. Your opinions are what the group leader tells you it is. And any speech, any ideas that are counter to this group narrative, you're ostracized. And this is the biggest trap. This is what Emerson's talking about in Self-Reliance, is that when you're part of a system, when you're part of a group, when you're part of the collective, you lose yourself at the expense of it. A harsh battle for adherence takes place between the pendulums. A destructive pendulum forces goals onto its adherents that are not of their own making. So think of the decisions you've made. Think of the things you've done in your life, and how many of those decisions and things were done because you wanted to do them, and how many were done because of societal norms and societal pressures. Like, I went to college, I went to grad school. I did all of these things because I thought that would make me happy, but in the end, it was just making people around me happy. And there might be some correlation. There might be something in that like, I want to make the people around me proud, but could it have been in a more efficient and a more productive and a more holistic manner? For sure. I could certainly have found a path that I would have been way more happy with, and if I'm happy, the people around me are going to be happy. Like, regardless of what they think is best for me, what's best for me is what I feel in my heart, what I know is going to allow me to get the best mix of, I can provide for people, I can have stability, but I can also have something that I can wake up and get out of bed and be excited to go do. And I didn't put myself down that path, and now my entire life is devoted to get myself back on that path. And it's understanding that the decisions we make often aren't ours, it's what's been put onto us, and you can never be happy living someone else's life. And the big secret about this is that nobody's living their own life. Everyone's living for some ideal that really doesn't exist. What is the perfect white picket fence? What is the perfect job? What is the perfect life? What is success? We have this somewhat broad, generalized idea of all these things, but nobody actually exemplifies that. Nobody actually ever hits that ideal, and that's why there's so much unhappiness, because we're aiming for this ideal, but it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's a figment of our imagination. It's a pendulum. A pendulum plays on human emotion, thereby catching the individual in their web. Think of you said something and it was counter to what the group thought, and somebody made fun of you, or somebody said, hey, you can't say that, or this or that, and you were afraid, and you were afraid that you were going to be ostracized, and through this fear you were able to be controlled. Through this fear you were able to be taken advantage of. If there is something that you really do not want, it will appear in your life. And I need you to understand this. Like, there's something to life where if you don't want it, it will appear. If you do want it, it won't come. And think of when you were younger and you had a crush and you were obsessed with that person, and for whatever reason they just wouldn't give you the time of day. But you get older, you forget about them, and then you see them again, and they're head over heels for you. And it's like, it's the weirdest thing, because you're saying to yourself, why couldn't I have this when I was younger? Why couldn't I have this when I actually wanted it? And the truth is, if you want something in this world, it will be so hard for you to get, because you attach seriousness to it. You attach intensity to it. You put it on a pedestal. You make it something that is unattainable because you long for it so much. Whereas if you don't care about something, if you go into a test, into an exam, and you forget about how important the exam is, and you just go in and understand that you studied, you did all the work, you did everything you needed to do to pass this exam, and you just go out and do it, it's so much easier for you to take something that way, instead of put it on a pedestal, instead of elevate it to the point where it's scary, elevate it to the point where it's this grand achievement, when really it's just something you deserve to do. You deserve to have what you want in this world. You deserve to have your dreams. And the moment you can flip that script is the moment that, I'm not saying you're going to get it right away, but you started the possibility of getting to that end goal. To free oneself from a pendulum means to give it no place in your life. And this is perhaps the most important thing, because this is again the Hegelian dialectic. It's thesis, antithesis, synthesis. And very broadly overgeneralizing all of Hegel's work right there, but essentially, if you oppose something, that doesn't mean that you are avoiding it. If you oppose something, in fact, that means that you're actually strengthening it. Because think of it in this way: if you hate somebody and you go on your entire life living your life out of spite for that person, well, that person still has control over you. It's the same thing with any political belief. It's the same thing with any ideology. If you vehemently oppose something, then you're actually giving it strength, because you're showing to its supporters that they need to be that much more fervent. They need to be that much more intense. They need to yell even louder than you. And it's this escalation. It's this, the more you focus on something, the more you think about something, the more you try to force it out of your life, the harder it is. There's a very useful exercise that Neville Goddard always points to, and it's, try not to think of $100 bill. Well, you just did. And it's like, even if you try not to think of something, you're going to think about it. It's you don't rebuke evil, you renounce evil. That's what the Bible says. And what that means is it's not, it doesn't do anything for you to say, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. It only makes a difference when it no longer is part of your personality. You know, I'm not going to rob, I'm not going to steal, I'm not going to cheat. Those aren't things that I have to say, because that's just not who I am. That's just not anything about me. So I don't have to concern myself with those ideas. And that's what we need to understand. If there's something that's in your life that's not serving you, you need to take that attention, that energy, that time, that effort, and put it to something that is going to benefit you. Put it to something that is going to develop you. Put it to something that is going to give you some sort of fulfillment, give you some sort of happiness, give you some sort of personal development. I think if we could find personal development in our day-to-day lives, I think eventually over time we could find that purpose and meaning and fulfillment regardless of the external circumstances. I have no reason to be happy for my external circumstances, but my internal world is amazing, so that I can go through everyday life with a smile. And that's really what it's about. I don't care about my external world, because why does my external world matter if my internal world is perfect? There are a ton of people with billions of dollars, everything that the world could ever give to them, but they're not happy, and I am. And that's the big difference in my life and the people's lives who don't enjoy their day-to-day aspects. To give something no place in your life does not mean to try and avoid it. It means to ignore it. Again, it's that sort of idea. It's like, the more you think about something, the more it is apparent in your life. The less you think about it, the less it has any effect on you. So if there's bad news, it really serves you nothing to dwell on it. It really serves you nothing to continually think about it. It in fact makes it even worse. And Seneca said something very tremendous about this idea, and it's, we suffer more in our own minds than we do in reality. meaning that we build things up to be far worse than they could ever be simply through our thoughts. To bring a pendulum to rest, you have to change the established game script. Think of it, I need to go out into the world and be successful, I need to go do this, I need to go do that, and why not just say, I want to be happy. I want to direct myself in a way that I can find fulfillment, that I can benefit people, that I can feel myself be a good person, have the stability that I'm really seeking, because when you go out into the world and try to be successful, what that really means is I just want stability. I want peace of mind. I want to be able to live my life and not worry about bills. Instead, we put so much focus on like sacrifice everything for a number in a bank account. And it's like, I think it's completely stupid, but positive visualization will gently bring the swing of a human pendulum to rest. And this is so important because I think we always find it super easy to go into the negative visualization. We always find it really easy to think about the worst case scenario and think about these things. But what I want you to start being able to do is calm yourself down and start thinking, what if? What if I could have this thing? What if I could be at this end goal? How would it feel? How would these things go? How would I act? How would the people around me respond? And the more you can answer these questions and give them the senses of reality, and you can feel each and every aspect of it, the more it will start to become apparent in your life. The energy of a stilled pendulum becomes available to you. Think about how much time people devote to the news. Think about how much time people devote to social media and all these things, all these ideas that I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Imagine if your daily life was, oh, I woke up. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do this. Like, you only have so much energy throughout the day, and most of us, myself included, waste it on things that don't matter at all. And that's what we really need to understand, is that if you could focus all day on one singular thing, I promise you could finish it that day. But because we don't have that level of attention and focus, we need to start regaining it. And what we need to start understanding is that when you fall victim to these vicious cycles of giving your attention to something else, you're giving your attention to something else. You're taking it away from the task at hand. You're taking it away from the thing that you really want to do, the thing that you keep saying you're going to do, but you keep procrastinating. Problems are solved by defeating or stopping the pendulum that created them. Again, like we exist in these frames of mind that there's only one way to do things. And when you exist in the frame of mind that there's only one way to do things, you become subservient to that system. But if you exist outside that system, then you don't play by its rules. Solve a problem, rent yourself out. To avoid getting stuck in a suspended state, find your own pendulums. It is essential to acquire the habit of remembering what you know. And I think this is perhaps the most important chapter in the entire book. And you know, there's a lot of other interesting ideas in this book. As we continue to go, you'll see them. But I think this is one of the most interesting books that I've ever read for certain aspects of things. I think it combines Neville Goddard with psychocybernetics, with Gurdjieff in some ways. And I really think it's well worth your time to go pick up. It's a very dense book. There's a whole lot of stuff in it, but I feel like there's really a lot to learn in it, and I feel like you're really going to enjoy it if you go pick it up. So, you know, here's to another chapter of Reality Transurfing. It's been a very fun time going through these chapter summaries. It's a lot easier than flipping through the pages of various other books that I've done this for. So, yeah, with that said, love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.